Why will you pay in crypto if you can pay with your debit card or your credit card? That's how I got into all this ecosystem, because of the fact that my local financial system was so broken that I had to look for alternatives, and here I am. My grandmother, she's 82 years old and she understands crypto. She has a wallet. It's very funny because you think that the adoption is usually happening on young people or people that work on tech, and it's not. It's happening on emerging markets for people that actually needs it, understand it. That's the main question. Why are you building this? So if the founder doesn't have a reason that makes sense, then why are you going to invest? If you're talking about meme coins, you know that it's quick cash or you'll be dead.
Welcome to Bitget Show. I'm your host, Vugar Usi, and today I have all the way from Venezuela. No, actually, she's from Dubai now, our very own Maria Angel. How are you?
Hi, I'm very good. Thank you so much for the invitation and for having me here today.
I'm very excited. Honestly, this show was very diverse. I always had a lot of female influencers, builders, entrepreneurs coming in here, and I'm very happy to see more women faces in the industry. And as a Bitget, we take a pride. We have blockchain for her project. We pledged to invest $10 million to educate more young women to come to build a career or to build a venture. And of course, Bitget CEO Gracie, she is I think in the forefront of the woman in tech. But like, how do you feel? Like, how is it to be a woman in a crypto?
I think it's amazing. It's very fun. And every time I get into this topic, I heard, or that the first thing people said is like there should be more women in crypto. And I think there's already a lot of women in crypto. Like from my own experience, my first manager, she was a woman. Her manager was also who was the co-founder of the previous company I worked for. And I met too many amazing girls in this industry that I need. We need to switch from that idea that there should be more women. We need to give more support and more recognition to the women that are already building, in order that the girls and all the girls that are out there looking to start a career here or to bring their talent to this industry, they feel empowered and they feel like, hey, this industry is actually different, it's equal, and they have a lot of room of growth in crypto.
Definitely, it's very, very important. And I always, whenever I invest, the first thing I try to look for, like, is there enough women in the board, especially like co-founder, because I believe women are very good at saving money. And there's actually was a study that like companies led by women, they don't overspend and they know how to build and I think it's a good, way of thinking. Like next time when you invest, look for a woman founders, women co-founders.
Yeah, listen to your girlfriends.
Or listen to your girlfriends. Marie, like you worked with big exchanges, you know how to build communities, but like what brought you to crypto? Like how one day someone comes to crypto?
Well, I'm Venezuelan. Let's start there. So you know that my country had this big crisis over the last years. And I was in college. I had the support of my parents at some point, but I had to start working. I was already 18 years old. But having a job in a country where the currency loses values every single day, and even some days it can lose the value in hours. So you can look at different exchanges rates in the same day, just dropping. So I had to look for something for myself to do while I was in college. So that's how I got into freelancing. We live on a world with globalization. You can be in Venezuela, work for companies out there, and it was amazing for me. I had the privilege of having an international income while I was a college student. But then I was facing that a significant percentage of my earnings where I was losing them due to the fees, the international transaction, and I had to start dealing with digital wallets, the ones that are fintech, not bank related, because the banking system of my country is completely separated to the global one. And when I was dealing with these wallets, then I faced another challenge. They started creating restrictions for Venezuelans. So that's how I got into understanding that, okay, crypto, this thing that I heard a few times here and there, could be a solution. So I started finding ways to earn in crypto, changing the way I was receiving money to crypto. And that's how I got access to several digital products that we use on a single daily basis. But for people in this kind of countries, it's something that is very restricted. Like, for example, Netflix, Spotify, they cannot pay it with their local banks. But I had some ways due to that I was being paid through crypto. And I was also exploring different ways to invest. I even mined Bitcoin at some point in my country. So that's how I got into all this ecosystem, because of the fact that my local financial system was so broken that I had to look for alternatives, and here I am.
That's cool, because like sometimes we look into like adoption rates in different countries, and it always comes like, oh, like this country, for example, Turkey, they're like on a top 12 in the like adoption level. There is Morocco also like in a top 5 or 6, even though it's like crypto is completely banned in the country. And we were like discussing, and mainly like our colleagues from like a Europe or like Asia, they were like thinking, oh, maybe there's a cool project there, something. And I'm like, no, it's mainly like a...
It's because of the need. So everyone sees the world from different lenses, different perspectives. And my grandmother, she's 82 years old, and she understands crypto. She has a wallet. She sometimes calls me when she sees the news and asks me how much is their crypto worth. And it's very funny, because you think that the adoption is usually happening on young people or people that work on tech, and it's not. It's happening on emerging markets for people that actually needs it, understand it. And maybe when we go to Europe or North America and we tell them, hey, in Venezuela, you know that we can go to restaurants and pay with crypto, they ask, why will you pay in crypto if you can pay with your debit card or your credit card? So those things are not that obvious, and I like to explain that because I love the fact that crypto is widely adopted from where I'm from, and I love the fact that many other countries are realizing it, and they are adopting the good things that they can do with crypto.
The same thing happens in Turkey because of the lira and exchange rate. Like a lot of people like mid-age, they kind of started using it, and it's very convenient. It's very easy access to foreign exchange, like as a US dollars and on a stable coin side, and as an investment vehicle. And I always think that maybe like the same way like pandemic happened and it forced everyone to work from home and digitalize and order online, and we saw like a huge boost. Maybe we need some sort of a booster for people to come crypto, because like the reason I came to crypto, or what inspired me, is that I was reading this like a World Economic Forum report, and it was telling that more than a quarter of the world's population have no access to banking.
Yes.
And it's very hard just to have a bank account, and most of the time it's not even useful to have that.
Even if you have a bank account, like our case in my country, you're not able to purchase international products. You're not able to receive from certain banks. So it's pretty limited, and it might be obvious. You tell some people, hey, I have my card here, but I cannot do anything with that. And they are like, what? But it happens.
It definitely happens. And I'm really, really happy that crypto as a tool, as an investment vehicle, but also as like a day-to-day transaction, changes lives in the places where
it does
otherwise you can't do.
Yeah.
And while we're talking about like a changing life, and while you talked about your grandmother having the access, I believe it's very also important how we educate people about things. And I know that you have done a tremendous work building communities and working on the like educational front. Share some bits and pieces about importance of education that I want to hear from you.
Yeah, it's the base of everything. So I had the privilege of starting building communities in Latin America since 2017. Before working in crypto, I worked for a digital app that had a similar line, but it was from banking. But it was the same, educating people on why they should try something that is not their bank. And when I joined crypto, there was a lot of uncertainty, a lot of doubts. Most people that came were interested into investing, becoming rich from one day to another, you know. It's been a thing for a while, but there's more. So I always involve educational activities in everything that we did in our communities, and it's a journey. It's a journey that started from creating your own wallet to learning how to trade. And I'm very happy that I was part of that journey. Sometimes when I see people at events, they recognize, they share with me the experience. So that's why it is very important to understand the needs of your community, to see them as part of your project, because they are the best ones to actually tell you what they need and how you support them. And when you build that relation, they really appreciate, they really feel that connection to brands. And it helped crypto a lot in South America, because the relation that we had with our community was very personal. They felt like friends, and they at some point were the ones suggesting what they wanted to learn, and at some point they were the ones teaching other members of the community. So if it's from South America or emerging markets, supporting the community from zero, creating their own wallet, trading, exploring different products like NFTs, it's the basics, but they also allow them to create their own things, which is the amazing part. And also partnering with projects, institutions that share the same needs, like universities, educational platforms. It's something that I enjoyed a lot doing. There was even an event in Colombia with 5,000 attendees, with the largest educational platform in Spanish. And it was not crypto related, but 5,000 people learned a little bit of crypto that day. And something that we have in common with the tech and the educational tech industry is that right now is very community related. And it is very powerful to scale any project if they put the community as a priority.
I think you are touching a very important point about the community, because usually I see it in my life, like when market is doing well, I will have like a friend and family member calling that, oh, I know you work for crypto, I want to do 1, 2, 3. Like people trust people, no matter we say like, yes, you have all the information on YouTube, all the information on Twitter, like, especially for making that first step, you want to go to someone you trust, because it's about money, and you wouldn't go and randomly do something unless you're like a risky kind. But usually you want to go and ask a friend and family member. And I'm sure it happens to you also, like people will be like, Marie, like I want to do that, or like, what do you think when I need to put my money? Of course, like I think that is another way of education. I believe that when you are in crypto, you have to do that. But also you touched upon the universities and educating. At Bitget, we do the same. I travel a lot to different countries, and we have the blockchain for use project. And I always say that it's not about, oh, we need people who will come and do next blockchain venture. It is about accountant. We need accountant also know about blockchain, because tomorrow you can work for a Web3 company, do accountants, marketing, HR. I don't know, law. Like we talk a lot on a crypto about legislation coming, a lot of compliance, but there isn't enough compliance people. And I never knew this until I became a CEO, and we have like now 100 people in a compliance team. Currently, we're hiring around 15, 20 people. It takes so much effort to find the right talent, because there isn't enough.
And it's also a mindset issue, because many of the talent that you might find come from corporate industries who have a different, they have a different mindset to crypto. And crypto and blockchain in general, we have beautiful values, you know? We have values like decentralization, equality, transparency. And this is also something very important to preserve in your industry. And having people that understands the need and how this is actually changing lives in terms of finance, but also bringing back some important values to our communities, is something that affects directly the way they work, the way they become more passionate about actually adding value to this industry.
Definitely. And I believe as an industry, we need to invest a lot to educate more. And I know that there's a lot of resources, but if you put something into internet, yes, definitely it reaches the audience, but it reaches if people look for it. But when you go to a university, when you go to an audience, and I think it was very beginning, like whenever you will go to crypto conference, you're like, oh, the next billion people are going to come to Web3. And after 5-6 years now, we're like, okay, we're gonna go to people. And we saw how the amazing things were done on Telegram with the tone, you know. They didn't ask people, like they just built upon existing audience. And I think like building something for an existing audience or existing community, or taking a community and leveraging, is really, really important in when it comes to building or popularizing a project. But like, while we talk about communities and power of communities, undeniable, what is your take on, this like a meme coins or projects that is only about community, and community becomes a commodity, community becomes a product itself?
Well, it's a dangerous topic because there's people that wins, there's people that lose money, and there's people that does something for fun, that identifies a community, and everything is laughing and it's fun. But there's also people that use the same tool for negative things like rug pulls and scams. So I think that the power of community could be positive or bad, and it's important to identify positive communities, be part of them. And when it comes to meme coins, I enjoy it. I'm guilty. Like, of course I have, and of course I'm looking for the next gem. I think we are all. But we have to, be careful, understand that we are doing it for fun, as we have groups of friends where we go out for fun, and we have groups of friends where we talk with business about business with them. So that's it. It's a matter of your own strategy, your own values, your own objectives, and how you behave in these environments.
I recently had a very beautiful guest here, and he mentioned something important, because I'm not like a meme coin geek, but he mentioned that we all know that Bitcoin won't do 10x, Ethereum won't do 10x, but if you really want that 10x, 20x, you have to go to meme coins. That's kind of what is driving this bull run. And you mentioned that you are guilty of meme coin investment. Like, how do you do it? Like, how do you find a good meme token project to invest? Like, I want you to give like a 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of a tactics for people who are watching you.
First of all, I do it for fun. Like, if it goes well, amazing. If it doesn't, I don't care. Let's start there. And that's why it's very important to diversify your capital, your portfolio, so you have the investment that's serious, the investment that's following a plan and a temporality, and you have also the money that you invest in this kind of things. So I do it with friends. I'm not like checking everyday crypto. I work on crypto. Everything in my life revolves around it, but I'm not following the charts. I'm not a trader. So I hear what's trending on Twitter. I follow KOLs that I've seen for a while in the industry, that I know, hey, this person has been around, it's actually legit. I see the trends, and if it's interesting and I see that there's a good timing, which is not the top of the chart, okay, I'm going to invest a little bit. But I also share it with my friends, because when it goes well and I make a post, they are like, why didn't you tell me? And I'm like, it's dangerous. I want you to be my friend. I want to preserve this friendship. But if you want to, at some point, just look at the projects at the early stage, developers that are visible, teams that's visible, good partnerships. Like, if it's going to exchanges that have reputation, it means that this project went through a due diligence process. So those kind of things. Like, I think meme coins are fun, but if you are looking into investing and building your own wealth, don't only look at meme coins.
But like, while talking about portfolio, you mentioned that you have this like a solid investments, like a long term, and then like money to play with. Like how Marie in her like brain builds that portfolio. Like, if we today, let's say you had like $1,000 hypothetical,
yes.
What would you do with that?
Okay, this is a very deep topic, because it's very interesting. You know that I don't know if you read the book Psychology of Money, but it starts explaining that you cannot, if you are a doctor, somebody that didn't study medicine can perform a surgery. So you cannot be outperformed by somebody that didn't went through the university, all these things. But you can compare traders who learn by themselves to people who went to Harvard to study finance and all these things. So it's one of the few areas of industries where you can be outperformed by people who actually didn't have the proper education. So when it comes to building portfolio, personal finance, I think it is a very personal process. Myself, I had to go through a lot of maturity process to the place where I'm right now. And it is very related to the personal goals that I have. So I have personal goals in terms of my professional growth, my financial growth, the lifestyle I want to live. And it's something I took time to write and organize very well in order that every single day when I'm doing some action, I know that it is supporting one of the goals that I have in my life. So I don't feel like I'm losing my time. So if I'm investing my time at work, I know this is supporting the end of professional growth or certain amount of money I want to earn in a year. So when it comes to investing, I also have some distribution of my savings based on the things I want to buy in my life, I want to get in my life. And a significant percentage of that, well, depends, of course, on each person, goes to monthly crypto investments or investments that I did on previous months on the same assets. So there are several ways. There's one that is DCA that I always suggest to people that's starting. If you don't know what to do, then do some DCA, dollar cost average, on the token that you prefer. Bitcoin is the first one people look at. It's very good to have Bitcoin. It's the top of the top coin of the world. That's a no-brainer. There are a lot of new investments that are going out and several areas of the industry that you can support. If you like those areas, it's even better because if you invest on something that you understand and that you can actually follow, it's something that you can take better advantage. Like if you like AI, if you like healthcare solutions, if you like real-world assets, you will feel comfortable investing on something you believe in. So it's hard to answer with a strategy that someone can replicate listening to this. But what I suggest is that first do the inner work of identifying what do you want as a person professionally and personally. Because if you don't have that clear, you can have $1 million today and then tomorrow you can have zero because you went to buy some things at Fashion Avenue. Like you can definitely do that, especially in this city. But if you have that system where you control your emotions and your priorities, then you can have a very good personal strategy.
I think you gave a great example of dollar cost averaging, and for the ones who are watching, they don't know what it is. It means you take the bunch of money in your mind that you want to purchase. Instead of doing one purchase, you do it over the time. Basically, you distribute your risks, and you can periodically either buy like every week, for example, for $100, let's say hypothetically, or every day or every hour, basically distributing that risk. Whether the market is going down or up, it doesn't much affect you rather than going and bulk purchasing, let's say Bitcoin at 65. And if it goes at 62, you'll start panicking. And a lot of my friends who are like first time investors, they go through that. They will be buying because I had friends like when almost a year and a half ago, the Bitcoin was around like 17K. I was buying and I told them, it's the best time to buy. And they bought and it went a little bit down to 15, I believe, before it started climbing. And they bought and after a week or two, they panicked, they sold, they lost money and then it was going up and now it's in 60s. And I'm like, yes, but like, for that reason, like dollar cost averaging is amazing because you feel better when it goes down and you feel much better when it goes up.
Yeah, and that's why you also need to have your own priorities clear. Like if you bought Bitcoin, why did you buy it in first place? And what are you going to do that with that money? So okay, if I'm going to do this and that with that money, I need that money then, not when the market's up and down. So those are the kinds of things that people have to understand, that when it comes to finance and when it comes to investing, you have to learn to manage your feelings, your emotions first. And then you are good to go on your investments.
Yeah, I always like give an example of like investing in property because no one buys a home and flips it in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, hoping for like a 30%. Like, because people usually are very proud, like, oh, like my home, now it is like, I don't know, 3 million. We only bought it for 30K. Yes, but like 50 years ago, your
Exactly. Good example. Yes.
Because like if you do the same with the Bitcoin, if you bought it 10 years ago and hold it all this time, yes, you will be like making a bank. But like don't expect to buy something unless it's like a meme token or like
Yeah.
something like really new. And I always tell like people were like, oh, meme coins. And I'm like, yes, meme coin. Not all of them do well, but even if they do well, you have to understand you are just entering now. You are a very early investor. That's why you make that 10x, because people who also entered Bitcoin long ago, they made 10x, 20x, but you can't do it today because we are looking at very like a short span of time. And my favorite example, whenever people talk about something, I open that Bitcoin chart and I put like 1 day performance, 5 hour performance,
Yes.
week performance, year performance, and you see how that, the lines and candles are like going in a different order.
Yeah, people has to know where are they standing. If you're talking about meme coins, you know that it's quick cash or you'll be dead. But if it's an investment strategy, then you need to set some foundation on what you really want, which is something that people avoids. And when it comes to education, some of the things I struggled the most was on dealing with this, because many people join the industry, especially if they are joining during a bull run. They want to put all eggs on a basket. They want to go all in. And I'm like, okay, chill. First, what do you want to do? Why are you here? Let's take a break. What is the percentage of your capital that you want to invest? And yeah, be prepared before taking these decisions.
Yeah, I always say like everyone is genius in a bull run. And I tell like before even opening a trade, you have to have a clear exit strategy and understand why you are doing this. Unless you are like in a long-term hold strategy, if you are
Yes.
just doing a trade, you have to understand, okay, I'm getting in here, this much I'm expecting to earn, and then I will be exiting. Because I've seen so many people the chart go up, go up, go up. They didn't want to leave. And then when it goes down, they're panicking that, oh, I'm losing. Because the mindset is that if you bought something for 10, now it's 100. And the moment it goes to 90, you already lost 10. But instead of thinking that, oh, I earned 90, like let me cash it out. And we saw it in the like last bear market that people saw all their assets going down and down and down because now they saw the high top of the market. They didn't want to exit. But I hope this run people are like a much smarter and to understand, and especially what you mentioned about the meme tokens is that you have to know when to enter, when to exit, and how to capture that cash quickly.
Yes.
What are your favorite, like a projects, tokens, like in this market today happening? Because I see sometimes you post like the stories sharing what you have done and like all on different, like your take on different projects. Like what is happening?
Well, I'm a very conservative investor. Like I have the basics. And when I look at projects that are emerging, well, right now I'm on the area of Bitcoin side chains where the value proposition revolves around providing access to Bitcoin to the DeFi ecosystem without grab tokens or changing the original concept. So, and of course the trends. I like to follow trends because that's also where the opportunities lies. I was lucky enough to purchase Bitcoin before it had 4 digits. I also invested when the DeFi run started. So I'm looking for trends just to be aware of what's happening. But I'm not chasing what's out there. So I just like to keep myself informed. And that's something that everyone that's investing in crypto should do, so you know actually how to manage your investment and how to take advantage of the things that are happening in the ecosystem. And yeah, if you are doing that, you also need to understand very well how to filter information, because there's a lot of misleading information that are just it's out there just to make people sell or buy. And it's important to filter and to have an objective vision of the whole trend that's out there.
I think you touched a very important point about like a lot of information out there, and some of them is misleading.
Yes.
And most of them are misleading, whether it's like a pure scam like a phishing and all this, random tokens. And recently, even in one of the like a very reputable event, there was this like a crypto project that they were pitching that was actually a Ponzi scheme. And they had like so many people and this illusion of a lot of people having an interest. The narrative is like shaping in the industry, but of course, like bad players take advantage. And I think it's another important factor for education when you have to educate people about to understand what is bad and what is good, how to differentiate. And you, like 5 minutes ago, mentioned a very important thing briefly about like a choosing project and understanding who are the developers and what kind of people they are, because I believe there are so many projects that are hidden by the avatar. You don't know.
Yes. So we are in an industry where we appreciate decentralization, freedom. We respect the people's choice of showing themselves or not. We are also using blockchain where everything is transparent, but you need to learn how to read between lines. And that's something that you learn through the years, let's be honest. If we are aiming to bring a massive adoption to crypto, a lot of people in this bull run, we have to know that they are not going to spend their time learning all the things that we know because we work in this industry. So we have to be a little bit empathetic in those cases, especially when we have the responsibility of being a project and hosting these large communities. And that's why education is a very, very important priority. Teaching people how to identify these scams is something super basic because, as you said, people believe you believe in people. You believe in your friend's word, in someone that you can see their face. Even if you see them for the first time, you listen and okay, this person might be right or wrong. But many of these scams projects are relying on pyramids, on schemes that are not new, but they are catching all the people that they are reading the news, they are listening to the trends, they are feeling FOMO of the industry. So that's where we have to increase the awareness of what's good and bad, and actually that if you are investing in Bitcoin, if you are investing in blockchain, you are investing for yourself. You don't need help of third parties. You don't need to involve someone else. You don't need to share your investment with someone else. And when you have that clear, it's easier to identify these scams because they tend to repeat the same patterns.
That's true. Because like I believe the scams been here forever.
Yes.
Like all these MLMs and pyramids, and they're not new. And also like I've noticed that the people who do it, even within the crypto, they're not like a crypto people. They're like people who actually like came from that scammer background. And I think like having a due diligence and checking on people and understanding what they had done before is very important and can tell a lot about the project and project's future rather than just getting into the hype and hearing that, I heard about something, like, let me do it. Especially when it comes to investment. And I think like one thing we need to not even educate, but I think everyone should be comfortable and not shy asking that, who are you? Why are you doing this project? Why
are you doing this project? Yeah, I like to talk a lot on Twitter Spaces. And there's one, mostly on Spanish because my community is mostly Spanish, but there's one space where people pitch their projects, and that's the main question. Why are you building this? So if the founder doesn't have a reason that makes sense, then why are you going to invest? So that's also something that we have to be very careful, especially with all these meme coins and projects that are appearing every day, because the founders are making it for money mostly. So you have to be very careful as an investor.
Yes, because like one thing is like founder, like I always say, like money should come next. You have to understand like what problem you are solving. Why are you doing this as a founder? And then as an investor, instead of thinking that, okay, I'm putting and I want 5x, you have to understand why this project you're investing in, what kind of research you have done. Even with meme tokens, I always say like, if you're investing, there should be some cultural aspect. Do you really like this meme? Does it tell you something? Or do you feel good about having 1 million tokens of something. Otherwise, why are you doing it? If everything is about like a 3x, 5x, I don't know, percentage margins, then there isn't any ethos, there isn't any connection. And that's why founders do easily rug pull, because they have no emotional connection,
Yes.
and people dump tokens because, again, there's no emotional connection. And I believe that every project that we are investing or we are promoting, there should be some sort of like a why we are doing this. And I think you touched a very important point about like a pitching and like looking for a projects. And you are so active into like this like early stage projects. Like, how do you, like, whenever you invest, like what grabs your attention while investing? And also for people out there like watching us today, what kind of recommendation would you give whenever they're finding this like a new project that they got excited on how to invest?
Yeah, first place, understand what they are selling and understanding what you are investing in. Take some time to research. If you are familiar with the topic, if there's some connection with your interest, that's even better. And I think our industry is kind enough to have so many projects where you can find projects that identify your needs. But yeah, understand the value proposition, understand the temporality of this value proposition, because if you're investing in something that will start producing its plan on 2030, then what is going to be happening there, you know? So also rely on communities where you can have opinions that adds value to your process of investigation. And check the partnerships that these projects bringing, check the people that's investing on a higher level on these projects. That gives you a very good idea. The VCs, the angel investors, the advisors. So you can rely on those details to understand, okay, these people is actually well connected, well supported, good partnerships. They have a plan that it's doable. And also check what are they delivering, because if they are proposing a plan and they don't deliver on time, then you have red flags. So before investing, be close to their community. Most projects have community. Ask questions on an early stage is amazing, because you can even somehow get close to the founders, get close to the members. They are usually doing AMAs, answering questions. So be active on your investment journey.
And I think like I always say, like, crypto investment is different because you have to actually like again get your hands on. I always tell people
yes
that participating is kind of a win-win, because when you're active in a community grows, you attract people. Like, you win when project grows, and project wins when it has an active community. And in crypto, whether we like or not, everything is run by the narrative. And even like the biggest projects that raise 200 million, 300 million, we see that, as you mentioned, still there are CEOs and CEOs going and doing AMAs and meeting people, because otherwise how you could evangelize and bring more people together. And while we talk about, all this, the things that, early stage investment is important, what is your usual strategy when it comes to investing? Like, are you more prone into getting into like a private sales, like an early stage, or you are actually waiting for the project to come onto the listing? And what are the like benefits of these two sides?
Yeah, it depends on the profile of the investor. I'm not an active investor. I don't live from trading or investing, but it is a very important part of my own capital. So lately I've been into private sales, because as I work on the marketing field and focus on my work, I don't have the time to dedicate daily to follow up on the listing time, on these details that requires full attention. So I'm into checking projects at a very early stage, investing early, and supporting their growth if I believe that the roadmap at a medium or long term will deliver what they are offering.
That's cool. That's really, really interesting. And I also wanted to touch upon like what you are doing currently, because you work with like a blockchain when it comes like a Bitcoin ecosystem itself. And honestly, I'm a little bit guilty. Like I don't have much knowledge, and I know like even Bitcoin ecosystem with all the money coming in is evolving so fast. Now you can stake Bitcoin. Now you can, there's ordinals. There are like so many things happening within that Bitcoin ecosystem. Like, what are you like personally doing within there, and also what is your vision? Like, how do you think like Bitcoin ecosystem can evolve and become a big new thing? Because Bitcoin is kind of an old thing within the crypto already.
Yes, it's hard to believe, but well, Bitcoin is the main door of this whole ecosystem. And there's many people that invested in Bitcoin without knowing what it was. And there's a whole ecosystem of products that are on the Ethereum or on the Solana. And what we want on the project I'm right now is to basically provide Bitcoin holders to access DeFi with their own Bitcoin without having the need to grab their tokens or do extra steps that are actually complicated, especially for new users. So that's the end goal, to allow people to use their Bitcoin on several areas to increase utility without congesting the Bitcoin network. And that's why we have a sidechain to empower Bitcoin. But it's amazing. I mean, it's a topic that's a bit complicated, but I don't like to get into the complicated stuff. I like to get into the day-to-day basis. I come from a country where I mined Bitcoin before knowing what it was. I just heard my cousins since 2013 talking about it. And then when I was in college, I was like, should I try this? Like, if this is making money, and then this is supporting a huge network that is actually providing value to the world. So many people did it like that, or just because of greed, or just because they wanted to be part of the conversation. And there's more that they can access. So at some point, my end goal is that people use their Bitcoin on things they like without knowing that they are using a blockchain, without knowing what is DeFi, just by default. Like the example that you said about Ton. I think that's the best example of bringing mass adoption to the retail markets.
Yeah, I also like recently explore a lot of projects that kind of built on chain. They're like a true Web3 companies, but they're not complicated. And for the user, actually, it doesn't matter, because let's say I want to send money from point A to B.
Yes.
Do I care how it goes? No.
Do I care about networks? Do I care about fees? What are those? What is gas? Like, that's the point I want to get. And I like my job because somehow we are seeing how the ecosystem evolves, and how we are bringing more people from Turkey, from Venezuela, from all around the world, where they just need some solution for their current problem.
Exactly. That's one of the things I felt very complicated back in times when, like back in 2017, I was like doing my first purchases. It was like, oh, gas fees, and you need to have like two different, like if you want to do like a, let's say USDT on ERC, then you need to have Ethereum to fix that. Yes. And so many details that as a first time user, it's wow.
It's overwhelming. Yes, you're scared.
And it's not only like you're scared because you don't understand. You're scared because you're dealing with money and it's your cash. You don't want to lose it. And like, it's triple stressful. And I believe that more projects that we will have that will simplify it. Like, let it run in the background. Do whatever you want. Just tell me, this is how you do it. This is what's going to happen. Easy. And that's how we can do mass adoption. And I always say like that's how centralized exchanges were very successful. Like recently our biggest competitor Binance announced that they reached more than 200 million users. At Bitget we serve 25 million users, and it shows a great way how so many people were onboarded to a journey. Because I don't know like a much project that has this kind of a huge audience, because there are so many ways that even though products are amazing, they're not as easy as to come and use and transact. And what do you think, like what will be like a next thing for the mass adoption, like how the next mass adoption can happen?
Wow, this is a very, I wish I knew. I will be rich. But I think that I'm excited about how the crypto, about how traditional apps or apps that we use every day are somehow involving crypto on the journey. We've seen some tests that Instagram did, to X before Twitter. It's very into crypto. Now Telegram. So that's something really exciting, because I mean that's the thing that actually drives the movement, and that will make it change. Every day we see new trends, we see new things coming to crypto, but these are the ones that, okay, this is actually making an impact. So what's the next move? I'm curious. I would love to know. But every time these big companies are testing with crypto, for me, is very exciting.
And from the investment perspective, like maybe not like for a very distant future, but like today, what kind of a projects that you are investing? And of course, it's not a financial advice, but like what are the like a hot things? Because I believe like different cycles, like last cycle we have NFTs. Now I know people at some point talked about like artificial intelligence, but I haven't seen much happening in there, especially from the crypto perspective. Like what are the hot topics like to look for?
Well, hot topics, AI, real world assets, what we hear on the headlines. On a personal perspective, I like to look at privacy and projects related to that one, because I think that the world is going to a point where people is understanding the needs of decentralization more and more, and the value of their own data, and how big companies make millions, billions of their own data. So right now, it's not an imminent need, but I'm sure that at some point we are going to understand as a society that we are the product. And I think that it will be very revolutionary to give back that power to people, and basically allow them to fully take the most advantage of DeFi, because I am scared, especially with all these AI things, all the discussions about data. Like a few days ago, Elon Musk was complaining that Apple is now integrating OpenAI. So what's going to happen? Are they going to listen to this conversation and offer ads based on what we're talking about, or what's going to happen? So yeah, I think that right now we are not fully aware as a society, but at some point, hey, we are going to realize that we are worth more than we know, and the companies know it before us.
I hope it won't be any case similar to Cambridge Analytica, where we all know after our data was sold by Facebook.
Exactly.
I hope we get the power into our hands, and I believe like the blockchain technology is the only solution. Thank you for the talk today. I love how we started from the female empowerment investments and ended up the importance of the privacy. I was your host, Vugar Usi, and my guest was Mari. Thank you.
Thank you so much.